In a universe so vast, are we truly alone? What would we do if a message were detected from a planet that shouldn't even exist? And what if these messages weren't just simple signals, but a riddle, a plea for help, or perhaps a warning? Today, we're delving into a story as mysterious as it is unsettling, the coded messages that allegedly came from a phantom planet. Get ready, because what you're about to hear defies logic and reality itself. Don't let the mysteries of the universe pass you by. If you're fascinated by the unknown, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell. Join us as we uncover secrets that challenge reality and explore the chilling enigmas of the cosmos. Leave your thoughts in the comments. What do you think is behind these signals? Let's unravel this mystery together. Eltron 7, known as the Phantom Planet, has become one of the greatest enigmas of the cosmos, evoking both fascination and fear among scientists, philosophers, and even the general public. Located in a star system that was destroyed thousands of years ago, Eltron 7 was, according to astronomical records, a rocky planet orbiting a star similar to our Sun. However, more than 10,000 years ago, its parent star collapsed, transforming into a supernova that obliterated the entire system. It was believed that all that remained were fields of cosmic dust and particles scattered through the vacuum of space. But in 2023, this narrative was radically altered. What began as a routine astronomical survey quickly escalated into a phenomenon that shook the scientific community. A high-precision Earth-based telescope detected faint radio signals emanating from the location where Eltron 7 was thought to have existed. Initially dismissed as background noise or natural interference, these signals soon revealed something inexplicable, a pattern. It was as if someone, or something, was trying to communicate. The signal consisted of rhythmic pulses, organized in a way that suggested an artificial origin. What intrigued scientists even more was the exact source of the signal. No matter, stars, or energy sources were detected in the area. Advanced telescopes confirmed that the region was an absolute void, where, theoretically, no technology could operate. Yet, the signal persisted, growing in intensity and complexity, as if someone were insisting on being heard. Initial analysis of the pulses revealed binary patterns, but when processed through advanced algorithms, they began to form symbols and fragments of language. To everyone's astonishment, the decoded messages included words like trapped, help us, and the cycle repeats. This raised countless questions. How could a planet destroyed millennia ago emit radio signals? And who or what was sending these messages? Many scientists initially speculated that it could be a cosmic echo, a transmission from a civilization that once existed on Eltron 7 before its destruction. However, this hypothesis was quickly dismissed. The complexity and repetition of the signals were incompatible with natural phenomena or ancient emissions. These signals were not just being detected now, they were being transmitted in real time. The investigation into the signal sparked theories ranging from the scientific to the supernatural. Some researchers suggested that Eltron 7 might be oscillating in a quantum state, a phenomenon where the planet could be blinking between dimensions, making it detectable only at specific intervals. Others believed the planet had been displaced into a parallel dimension or a sort of temporal bubble following its destruction, with its inhabitants, or perhaps an artificial intelligence, still attempting to reconnect with the original universe. Another, even more unsettling theory proposes that Eltron 7 was destroyed by external forces, possibly by a cosmic entity or a superior civilization. Decoded fragments of the message, such as "they are coming" and "we cannot escape," suggest that the planet's destruction may have been deliberate. But who are they? Could these signals be a warning to other civilizations, including our own? And if so, are we prepared to understand or confront what they are trying to warn us about? Beyond the scientific interpretations, the case of Eltron 7 has profoundly impacted the collective imagination. Religious and mystical groups claim that the signals are communications from spirits or entities from beyond, attempting to warn the living about the dangers of defying universal laws. Others see the signals as a type of spiritual echo, a cry for help from souls trapped in a lost dimension. Some individuals who have listened to recordings of the signals have reported disturbing experiences, such as recurring nightmares, hallucinations, and even the sensation of being watched. Meanwhile, scientists have continued analyzing the region where the signals were detected. The Phantom Point, as it has been nicknamed, shows no conventional characteristics. There is no gravity, radiation, or any physical remnants indicating the presence of a planet or advanced technology. Yet, the signals persist. In recent missions, probes sent to the location mysteriously disappeared, and crewed vessels approaching the area reported inexplicable anomalies, including system failures, temporal distortions, and even voices or incomprehensible sounds emanating from the void. The phrase, "the cycle repeats," has been one of the most disturbing decoded so far. This expression has sparked intense debates within the scientific and philosophical communities. Some believe it refers to a cyclical event in the universe, something that happened to Eltron 7 and could repeat elsewhere. Others interpret the phrase as a metaphor, a warning that certain actions, such as reckless technological advancements, could trigger inevitable cosmic consequences. Despite decades of research, Eltron 7 remains an unsolved mystery. Its messages continue to arrive, growing more complex and enigmatic, challenging our understanding of the universe. Are we dealing with a civilization that transcended the death of its planet? Or with something completely beyond our comprehension? The only certainty is that the Phantom Planet forces us to confront the limits of what we consider possible and question how far we are willing to go in search of answers. Eltron 7 is not just an astronomical enigma, it is a reflection of our own curiosity and fear of the unknown. The messages from the void are, for many, a grim reminder that the universe is vast, mysterious, and perhaps far more alive than we dare to believe. What really happened to Eltron 7? And more importantly, are we ready to hear what it has to say? The coded message from Eltron 7 is not just a scientific mystery, it is an enigma so profound and unsettling that it shakes the very foundations of human reason. From the moment the first signals were detected, an eerie sensation hung over everyone who encountered them. Something about it felt wrong, as if the universe itself was whispering a forbidden secret, something we were never meant to uncover. At first, they were just rhythmic pulses. Small fragments of sound lost in the vast silence of the cosmos, easy to dismiss. But as the signals were analyzed, a pattern emerged, not random, not chaotic, but ordered, almost methodical. It was as if an intelligence was sending a message that crossed the boundaries of space and time. When algorithms began to decode the signals, what emerged made even the most skeptical scientists hesitate. Simple words, laden with a terrible weight: trapped, help us, the cycle repeats. But these words weren't mere random fragments. They seemed to plead, to scream for attention, like a voice echoing from a deep, unreachable well. With each cycle of the message, the complexity grew, as if they were desperate to be understood. What made it all the more terrifying was the evolution of the signals. They weren't just repeating, they were changing, adapting, almost responding to human attempts to decode them. Whoever, or whatever, was behind these transmissions knew we were listening. And it seemed to be waiting for that. The origin point of the signals only deepened the mystery. Eltron 7, a planet supposedly destroyed more than 10,000 years ago, should have been nothing more than stardust, a void in deep space. And yet, that was exactly where the signals were emanating from. Telescopes confirmed that no matter, no energy, no known source of life existed in the area. It was as if the message was coming from a hole in reality, a point where the rules of the universe didn't apply. Some scientists began speculating that the planet was trapped in a quantum state, oscillating between existence and non-existence. Others suggested something even more disturbing, that Eltron 7 had been displaced into another dimension, and that the signals were a cry for help piercing through the veil between worlds. Then, the messages became even stranger. They weren't just words. Fragments of images began to emerge, encoded within the signals. Incomplete figures, shapes that seemed displaced, like pieces of a reality we couldn't fully comprehend. One of these images resembled a distorted sky with shadowy forms hovering above it, while others showed something that looked like beings, or the shadows of beings, staring directly at the observer. These incomplete visions evoked an inexplicable terror in the scientists analyzing them, as if merely looking at them was enough to feel an overwhelming weight, an invisible presence that seemed to surround them. The phrase, "the cycle repeats," became the center of the enigma. Was it a warning about something yet to come? A cosmic event that destroys entire civilizations at predetermined intervals? Or perhaps something more literal, a temporal loop where the inhabitants of Eltron 7 were trapped, living and reliving their destruction endlessly? Additional decoded fragments brought no comfort. Words like, "they are coming" and "we cannot escape" suggested that the destruction of the planet was no accident. Something found them. Something destroyed them. But who are they? The idea of a cosmic force or entity operating on an unimaginable scale began to gain traction. What if they were still out there? What if Eltron 7 was just one of many victims of something that moves through the cosmos, erasing entire worlds for reasons we will never understand? The messages could be a warning, or worse, a trap. This possibility isn't just theoretical. Some scientists fear that decoding the messages itself is a mistake. What if they are using the signals to locate us? What if, by responding, we attract the same force that destroyed Eltron 7 to ourselves? The horror of this idea cannot be ignored. After all, the signals aren't just asking for help, they're calling us. The accounts of people who have worked directly with the signals only add to the discomfort. Many describe recurring dreams, nightmares of desolate landscapes and figures watching them from afar. Some claim to have heard voices whispering in languages they couldn't identify, while others speak of feeling as though they were being watched, even when alone. There are even reports of researchers resigning from their positions, stating that the psychological toll of dealing with the signals was unbearable. Despite it all, the messages persist. They do not stop, do not weaken, do not relent. With each new cycle, an increasing sense of urgency permeates the signals, as if time is running out. But time for whom? For them? For us? Or for both? Meanwhile, the theories continue to multiply. Some believe we are on the brink of discovering something that will forever change our understanding of the universe. Others fear we are tampering with forces we cannot comprehend, let alone control. And then there are those who simply gaze into the void from which the signals emanate and feel something primal, a deep, instinctive fear that whatever is on the other side is not something we should face. The coded message from Eltron 7 is more than a mystery. It is a dark mirror reflecting our deepest fears, the fear of the unknown, of infinity, and of the possibility that in our pursuit of answers, we may uncover something we were never meant to find. As the signals echo through the void, the question remains chilling: who is on the other side, and what do they truly want from us? Theories about the signals from Eltron 7 are not only intriguing but also deeply terrifying. Each hypothesis proposed seems more unsettling than the last, amplifying the mystery instead of solving it. Among scientists, philosophers, and even supernatural enthusiasts, interpretations range from well-founded scientific possibilities to speculations bordering on the paranormal. One of the most widely discussed theories is that the signals are the last remnants of a lost civilization that somehow survived the collapse of their planet. This hypothesis suggests that the inhabitants of Eltron 7 may have found a way to preserve their consciousnesses or their messages in an energetic state capable of crossing the barriers of space and time. However, this raises an even more unsettling question: why have their signals only arrived now, more than 10,000 years after the planet's destruction? Some scientists believe the signals might be a temporal echo phenomenon, remnants of a transmission sent before Eltron 7's destruction that took millennia to reach our planet due to the vast distances involved. However, this theory falters on an inescapable peculiarity: the signals are not static. They evolve, as if guided by an intelligence, adapting and responding to human attempts at decryption. This adaptation has led many to believe that the signals are not mere remnants but active attempts at communication from a conscious intelligence. The possibility that something, or someone, is still alive in Eltron 7, or in what remains of it, is enough to send chills down the spine of even the most skeptical researchers. Other theories delve into even darker territories. One suggests that Eltron 7 was not destroyed by natural causes but by incomprehensible external forces. Fragments of decoded messages, such as "they are coming" and "we cannot escape," raise the possibility that the planet was targeted by a superior cosmic force or a far more advanced civilization. What if Eltron 7 was deliberately erased as part of some sort of cosmic cleansing? Some speculate that the universe might have invisible guardians, entities or forces tasked with maintaining balance between dimensions or realities. In this case, Eltron 7 might have been deemed a threat, perhaps due to its advanced technology or its exploration of parallel dimensions, and was removed as punishment. An even more disturbing idea is that the signals are a warning. Perhaps the inhabitants of Eltron 7 experienced something so devastating and incomprehensible that they are now desperately trying to warn other civilizations of the danger. But if that is the case, what could be so catastrophic as to erase an entire planet? Some researchers believe the phrase, "the cycle repeats," may refer to a recurring cosmic event, such as the collision of dimensions or the collapse of entire realities. Others think it might be a reference to a predatory force, something that moves through the universe, destroying entire civilizations for reasons unknown. A more controversial theory suggests that the universe itself might be a simulation and that Eltron 7 was deleted by its creators. In this scenario, the signals would be a bug, a glitch in the system that allows fragments of this vanished civilization to continue trying to communicate. While fascinating, this idea raises profoundly unsettling existential questions. What if our own reality is at the mercy of superior forces that could erase it without warning? Among the most macabre theories is the possibility that the signals are not a cry for help but a trap. Some scientists warn that by attempting to decipher the signals or respond to them, we may risk attracting the attention of something far more powerful and hostile than we can imagine. What if the signals are deliberately designed to provoke curiosity? What if, by investigating further, we are opening the door to a force that destroyed Eltron 7 and could now turn its attention to us? This possibility cannot be easily dismissed, especially considering the deliberate and adaptive evolution of the signals. The signals also raise questions about the very nature of existence. What if Eltron 7 wasn't destroyed but displaced into a parallel reality? Some researchers suggest that the inhabitants of Eltron 7 might be trapped in a temporal loop, doomed to relive the moments leading up to their destruction repeatedly. This theory gains traction with the phrase, "the cycle repeats," which appears frequently in the signals. Could it be possible that the inhabitants of Eltron 7 are trying to escape their temporal prison, using the transmissions as a means to break through the barriers of their existence? Missions sent to the origin point of the signals have reported inexplicable phenomena, such as equipment failures and even the disappearance of probes. Some crew members who approached the area reported sensations of disorientation, as if being pulled by an invisible force. These anomalies suggest that the location where Eltron 7 once existed is not merely a void in space but a kind of scar on the fabric of the universe, where the laws of physics seem not to apply. The most frightening theory, however, is that the signals are deliberately manipulating us, leading us toward an unknown fate. What will happen if we one day fully decipher the message? Will we be ready to deal with the consequences? Or, in understanding the signals, will we awaken something that was never meant to be found? As the mystery deepens, one thing is certain: the theories surrounding Eltron 7 not only challenge our understanding of the universe but also force us to confront our deepest fears. We are dealing with something that could forever change how we perceive reality, or bring it to an end entirely. And the question echoing through the corridors of science and philosophy is as unsettling as the mystery itself: are we prepared for the answers, or are some questions better left unsolved? The psychological impact of the signals from Eltron 7 is perhaps the most underestimated and disturbing aspect of the entire mystery. While scientists and researchers focus on decoding the messages and theorizing about their origins, those directly interacting with the signals are facing effects that go beyond what science can explain. From the earliest days of the discovery, those who spent hours analyzing the transmissions began reporting unsettling experiences. Nightmares became a recurring theme, filled with visions of devastated landscapes, strangely distorted skies, and shadowy figures observing from a distance. Many described an overwhelming sense of helplessness, as if they were somehow connected, albeit indirectly, to the very destruction of Eltron 7. But the effects were not confined to dreams. Some researchers reported hearing inexplicable sounds while working on the signals, whispers in unknown languages, rhythmic thumps, and even a sort of murmuring that seemed to emanate directly from the analysis equipment. These sounds, often dismissed as technical glitches, left deep emotional scars on those who heard them. One scientist, who requested anonymity, stated, "It's as if something, or someone, is trying to reach me, not through the signals, but through them. There are moments when I feel like I'm being watched, even when I know I'm alone." Physical symptoms also began to emerge. Many of those who spent extended periods studying the signals reported unexplained fatigue, headaches, and even short-term memory loss. One researcher claimed that for weeks, he felt as though his mind was out of sync, unable to focus on simple tasks. Others described an almost magnetic pull, as if something was drawing them toward the signals, compelling them to keep decoding even when they wanted to stop. This compulsion drove several researchers to the brink of mental exhaustion, with some abandoning the project entirely. The psychological impact was not limited to scientists. Technicians operating the equipment, even those with limited exposure to the data, also began experiencing strange phenomena. A communications technician reported seeing shadows moving across the control room while analyzing the pulses. Another described an episode in which he felt a presence in the room, a heaviness in the air, as if something unseen was hovering over him. These accounts, though difficult to verify, became common enough to be informally documented by the research team leaders. The situation became even more alarming when a group of scientists decided to conduct a prolonged listening experiment. The goal was to capture and analyze the signals uninterrupted for 72 hours, but what transpired during the experiment was as strange as it was alarming. The researchers involved reported that as the signals were transmitted in long sessions, they began noticing changes in their own emotional states. Many felt an escalating sense of despair, as if they were being pulled into the mystery of Eltron 7. One of them described, "It was as if the signals were alive, as if they were telling me something I couldn't understand, but that terrified me deeply." This emotional reaction raised a disturbing question: are the signals merely transmitting information, or could they be carrying something more? Some scientists began speculating that the signals from Eltron 7 might contain a type of psychic charge, a residual energy capable of influencing the human mind. While this idea is controversial, it gained traction as more individuals reported mood changes, extreme anxiety, and even hallucinations after working directly with the transmissions. In one of the most notable missions, a field team sent to the origin point of the signals reported a chilling experience. As they approached the area, navigation equipment began to fail, and the crew felt a growing sense of disorientation. Some described the feeling of being watched, while others claimed to hear voices in their communications, though no external source could be identified. One crew member stated that, for a brief moment, he saw a human-like figure standing in the void of space, staring directly at him through the ship's window. This account was dismissed as a hallucination, but the entire team agreed that something about the location felt unnatural. The psychological impact also extended to those who had merely heard about the signals. Reports from individuals outside the research teams who accessed recordings or decoded images began to surface. Many claimed that after hearing the signals, they experienced disturbing dreams and a constant sense of unease. One woman reported that after attending a public presentation about Eltron 7, she began to feel as though she was being followed by a shadow, something she could never fully explain. These collective reactions raise an even more unsettling question: is the psychological impact of the signals a side effect of interacting with the unknown, or is it deliberate? What if the transmissions from Eltron 7 are not just messages but a form of influence, a mechanism designed to attract, manipulate, or even contaminate those who come too close? What makes it all the more terrifying is the lack of definitive answers. The psychological impact continues to spread, creating an atmosphere of fear and doubt among those closest to the mystery. Some have begun suggesting that the best course of action might be to cease all analysis of the signals, leaving the mystery of Eltron 7 untouched. Others, however, believe that the signals may contain crucial information, perhaps even a message of salvation or a warning for all of humanity. Meanwhile, the mystery persists, as do its effects. With every new transmission, the psychological toll seems to intensify, as though the signals are reacting to our attention, feeding on it. The question that remains is chilling: are we merely observing the signals from Eltron 7, or are they somehow observing and affecting us? And, more importantly, what happens if we keep listening? The most disturbing reports, however, came from a team sent to the void where Eltron 7 was supposed to be. As soon as they crossed into the region, sensors began to fail, but what the crew experienced was far worse. One crew member reported seeing figures through the ship's windows, human-like forms, but distorted, like reflections in a cracked mirror. Another claimed to feel invisible hands pressing on his shoulders, as if something was trying to pull him outside. The transmission they received while near the void was even more unsettling. It wasn't binary code or a sequence of pulses. It was a scream. A scream that seemed human and yet wasn't. Back on Earth, those who participated in the mission were isolated due to severe psychological effects. But what followed was even more terrifying. One member, in a state of panic, reported seeing shadows in his home, hearing whispers at night, as if something from the void had followed him back. Another vanished without a trace, leaving behind only a note that read, "They are here. Don't look at the shadows." The question no one can answer is, what is truly in these signals? Are they merely transmissions from a lost civilization, or are they imbued with something more, something that contaminates, manipulates, and haunts? Some theorists suggest the signals are not just messages but a mechanism of infiltration, designed to invade our minds, our realities, perhaps even our souls. And then comes the most chilling question: what happens if we listen too much? If we decode the final fragment? Are we opening doors that should remain closed? Some say the signals are like bait, luring us to the same fate that befell Eltron 7. Perhaps they are inviting us to look, knowing we cannot resist, and knowing what waits on the other side. These signals, they are not just sounds in the void. They are a bridge, a call. But to whom? To us, or to something out there, waiting? Do you have the courage to go deeper? To explore the edges of the unknown, even if it means facing what hides in the shadows? Before we continue, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon, and get ready. What you are about to hear could change the way you see the universe, or even yourself. The void is watching. And now, it's your choice: will you answer the call, or turn away?